I tried to review Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. A little bit of story time here, so you ladies and gentlemen that click on this video can somehow understand where I'm coming from. The year is 2020. A very dark time, especially for me. My business can operate and I adapted poorly to the changing needs of the world, making my financial status, well, bad. I can only buy one game that year, and I was torn between Ghost of Tsushima and Cyberpunk 2077. I never played an infamous game. Because of that, Sucker Punch is a stranger to me. On the other hand, CD Projekt Red gave me a life-changing experience through their Witcher games, especially Wild Hunt. I love The Witcher. I like that game so much that if my friends and I have discussions about good games, I'll find a way to talk about it and tear their ears off. I can even hear them sighing right now. So I decided to pre-order Cyberpunk 2077 for my PS4. The one and only game I bought that year. Well, I don't think I need to elaborate how bad that decision was. Ghost of Tsushima is a great game, or so I've heard. I've never played it. I decided to punish myself for being an idiot for breaking my rule of not pre-ordering games. I won't play Ghost of Tsushima, so that it'll be a reminder to myself that pre-ordering games is never an option. Fast forward almost 3 years later, here I am with another choice laid upon me. Should I buy Cyberpunk 2077 and its expansion for my PC and give it another chance? Or should I buy Assassin's Creed Mirage to give that series, which I used to like, another chance? Since the title of this video is I tried to review Cyberpunk 2077, my choice is obvious. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk about the things I like and dislike in this game. I played this game twice on my PS4 in 2 different occasions. My initial experience playing the game is the worst gaming experience I had with my PS4. The game crashed. If I remember correctly, the game crashed a total of 72 times throughout my entire playthrough. Given the frequent crashes, I found myself rushing through the game just to reach the end. I just wanted to know where my Corpo V will end up or what will happen to him. The second playthrough is immediately after I finished watching Edge Runners and I just wanted to kill Smasher. Upon replaying the game on my PC, briefly speaking, there was an improvement, but it's not without its shortcomings. The game is still rough. I still experience a hefty amount of game-breaking bugs like enemies phasing through objects, enemies that can take damage if you're not close enough, cars that spawn randomly out of nowhere. Nice car though. Nice car! Whoa, 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 whoa there, champion! What the fuck? Where did you come from? From heaven? Ah, you ruined my motorbike. This game still spawning random shit. And this bug that crashes your game if you put Mr. Bath Pants in the box. Immersion breaking bugs, roads and streets that are empty. If you're driving a reasonable fast car, there's a chance that roads won't spawn, dead bodies that still taunt and stand, and characters that don't open their mouths while speaking to you. I've also experienced a lot of frame drops that I needed to relaunch the game so it'll recover. All in all, a rough experience. To be fair, they did fix a lot of issues and added stuff that I like. Teleporting cops are no more, they now use their cars to respond to your crimes, but they tend to give up easily on their chase. I hardly needed to take detours or hide to lose my notoriety. That is the case for 3 stars and lower. For 4 stars, cops will have an absurd amount of backup, making it really hard to escape from them. And at 5 stars, max stack will arrive and most likely kick your ass. The CL3 rework is great. My hacker, or in this case, Netrunner Ninja Assassin V, feels powerful. It plays how I envisioned him, and I had a lot of fun using my abilities. I also like that they removed the level scaling for sectors of Night City. I really didn't like that. It reminds me of the Ubisoft formula. At this point in time, I think we all know how this game will end. The choices laid upon us by the end of the game, well, the vanilla ending has been talked about and dissected by countless people on multiple platforms. It's about V's and Johnny's survival, their views on the corpos and the elites. It's an old shoe. I'm just gonna say it's a decent story. The cast of characters surrounding that story made it better rather than the plot itself. Another Mass Effect thing in my opinion. I'll focus more on the story of Phantom Liberty, the expansion, because I think it's a better narrative compared to the original, and it also adds a different ending to V's and Johnny's story. At the beginning of the DLC, you'll meet Songbird. She'll ask you to rescue a VIP who will soon crash land on Dogtown. The intro of this DLC is way better than the intro of the vanilla game. I really like this kind of story. Defending a VIP which can also dish out as well as take punches. Phantom Liberty story felt like the stakes are higher. It made me forget about what really mattered to V, which is his survival. I based my decisions on where my loyalty should lie, my needs for structure and stability, my want to fight for a greater good, my hero complex in video games. Yes, those things. There's this line in the latest Kingsman movie. I apologize in advance to Latin speakers for my pronunciation, but here it goes. Dulce et decorum est pro patria mori, which means it is sweet and proper to die for one's country. The old lie. That sentence popped up in my mind after finishing my first playthrough of the expansion. Even though at the end of it all I succeeded, the victory felt hollow, empty, meaningless. I like it when I feel these emotions when reading things, watching stuff, or playing games. It puts things in gray, not just black and white. I simply like it when stories takes this approach. It also answered the question Deshaun asked RV at the beginning of the game. Would you rather die peacefully or die in a blaze of glory? Okay, I should stop talking about the game story. I might unintentionally spoil it. The narrative very well complements the original story, answering all of the questions and leaving nothing hanging. The characters are voice acted perfectly. Idris's performance as Reed is amazing too. The things that he says are believable, his actions as well. No over-the-top things, no superhero landings, no ultra mega spy wishy-washy ninjutsu bullshit. You'll like him not just because he's cool and badass, but because he's a well-written character. You can empathize and see things from his perspective. Not just Reed, even the big evil boss of Dogtown, Hansen, is not cartoonishly evil. You can also understand where he's coming from. It's just that he's a warmongering piece of shit. I kinda would have liked to see more of him. I think he was not used in the story as much as I expected and is barely in it. Well, he got used pretty well, but in a completely different way. Thinking of it, he's not really the bad guy here. I just want more excuses to hate him more. I don't know why though. Dogtown is a much shittier version of Night City. Buildings here are dilapidated, roads are littered with wrecks that block them, making driving through this town a challenge. However, in the midst of all this ruin and suffering, there are two places that are exception to this pathetic state. A club where a certain Pixar is based, and Hansen's Black Sapphire. The areas of Dogtown are fine. I'm not really a fan of concrete jungles and ruin in games. I prefer mountains and landscape of green, but I can say the streets of Dogtown and the interior of Black Sapphire are quite okay, visually speaking. Since Dogtown is a new area, it means new gigs. Gigs in Night City are a mixed bag. Some of them feel like they were just added for the sake of having more. It's a typical quantity over quality situation. This opinion of mine gets reinforced when I experience the gigs here in Dogtown. The gigs here are better designed, the narratives behind them are better too, and most importantly, they're more fun to do. They don't feel like chores. There are some memorable gigs in Night City, like this XBD editor duo who are also a father and son, and they edited a certain XBD of a kid getting murdered. This will sound very disturbing and you might see me in a very dark way. The game will let you kill both of them or one of them. The game won't ask you to do it, but you can. For my first playthrough, I killed the son. I was feeling vindictive back then, and I wanted to make the father feel the pain of losing a son for no good reason. And I kind of suspected that they killed the kid for content. However, I didn't find any evidence of that happening, and it made me feel like a total ass. You can even hear the father suffering, sobbing, asking you to leave them. I didn't have the stomach to recreate that, so I don't have footage to prove it. You'll have to take my word for it. But the game does make you see and feel the consequences of your actions, not only on the main story side, but on the side missions as well. The gigs here in Dogtown have a lot of those instances. Most of them have it. It made me think, what if they had focused on the quality side of Night City's gigs as well? That would have been amazing. But it is what it is. I'll take what I can and be glad that the gigs here in Dogtown are better. Speaking of quantity over quality, the vehicle theft mission from Capitan, in my opinion, is the weakest addition from this expansion. The cars and location might be different, but the missions are repetitive. Drive the car to this location, there might be a timer, or you're being chased, kill them before going to the drop point, over and over again. Without the accompanying side mission to this activity, which I liked as well, I think on my 5th delivery, I would have stopped doing it and forget about it. The expansion is an amazing addition to this game. It didn't feel like it was cut content, then repackaged as a DLC. Well, if that's the case, it'll be rubbing salt into this healing wound I got from pre-ordering Cyberpunk 2077 3 years ago. I would like to think that's not the case here, because I like the expansion more than the base game. And all those additional gigs, the story, and oh boy, those new ending cutscenes and epilogue. It's hard to believe it's repackaged content. Now, 3 years later with 86 hours of playtime, will I recommend you to buy this game and its expansion to you ladies and gentlemen who made it this far in this video? For the full asking price? Putting it bluntly, no. I'm afraid I can't recommend it, especially if you're like me, who bought this game 3 years ago for their PS4 at full price and now wants to experience it on their PC. They did fix the game. The PC version is better than the PS4's. However, in my own honest opinion, we already bought the game once and were given a hardly working product. Cyberpunk 2077 is the most expensive game in my collection because I bought it twice. The PC version has an expansion and you might think that's an unfair way to look at this, but I paid both times expecting a polished, working game. The PC version might be working better than the PS4 version, but it's far from being polished. The game is still rough even 3 years later. Glitches and bugs cannot be avoided in any game. That's a fact. But the glitches and game-breaking bugs that I experienced 3 years ago are still here. I can still see those bugs and glitches ruining my experience. Is it a better experience than before? Yes, absolutely better. But my point is, the issues that I experienced before are still there. At this point, I believe that it's impossible to experience this game without those bugs and glitches. I think it's synonymous with this game, or as my good friend put it, my game yung bug. If you really like this game and you want to play it, give it a second chance, which I totally understand, by the way. The game has a lot of amazing stuff in it, and all those things they added and tried to fix made the game better. Buy this game during a sale with at least a 40% discount. Lower than that, please wait. Control your FOMO. Save your money, or better, buy better games. And to those who dodged a bullet 3 years ago and want to buy it now and asking themselves if this is the time to finally buy the game, well, same goes to you. Don't buy this game on full price. Wait for a sale. It's still a rough experience and you'll be disappointed. To be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to praise this game, to say to you that it's worth your time and money. But I just don't. The game has a decent story, memorable characters, gameplay loops that are just addictive and fun, skill tree that lets you create a character that you like to play as, an expansion that doesn't feel a repackaged content, those amazing things. But as I said earlier, the game still feels broken at times. Such a shame to experience it that way. I have forgiven CD Projekt Red about the blunder they did 3 years ago, but I can never forget. If you decide to give this game a go and willing to forgive its shortcomings, just remember this clip that you're currently seeing now. You looking out on a window, mesmerized the views you're currently seeing, and then Padam takes a left turn, ruining the view. That's the best analogy I can think for this game. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope to see you on the other one. Goodbye.